Hi, welcome back to the Finding Better podcast. My name is John Suzuki, and I am your host. And Finding Better is a place that you can come to learn about other people's experiences, real life experiences where they've been there and done that in terms of whatever it is we're talking about. The idea is to share. And so perhaps you can learn from some of the experiences and apply some of those lessons to your own life. And it's a wonderful place to be. And if you want information on me or the podcast, you can go to johnsuzuki.com. And my YouTube channel is Finding Better Podcast. Okay. If you're looking at the YouTube channel, if you're watching me from in the YouTube channel, you see a very handsome gentleman here with me. And he is my very first guest. As you know, up until this point, it's just been kind of me talking, kind of setting the foundation for Finding Better and what we're doing. And the gentleman with me today, his name is Jason Sprenkle. And the reason why I really wanted to have him as my first guest is because, we focus on finding better for ourselves. And we're focused on finding better for you, helping you find better. What makes Jason unique is that today's episode is about Jason sharing his experiences on how he helped other people find better. And so Jason, welcome to Finding Better. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. So excited to be here, John.
I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. So just a little bit of background for everybody. So Jason is by trade and education an attorney. A lot of attorneys are really smart. Some of them aren't so smart. He's one of the really smart ones. A lot of attorneys are good attorneys. A lot of them aren't so good. He's one of the amazing attorneys, and he's a really, really good guy. I can't even recall, Jason, how long we've known each other. At least 10 years, maybe
Yeah,
15.
I'd say about
Um,
15.
yeah, 15 years. I think you're right. And in past episodes, folks, you've heard me talk about surrounding yourself with people better than you are and only dealing with pleasant people. Jason is far better as a person than I am, and he is definitely a very, very pleasant person. And so it's just been a wonderful, wonderful relationship. And so anyway, and the last thing I just want to say, and I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself, Jason, is that he embodies giving back. He really embodies what it means to give back. So, Jason, again, welcome to Finding Better. I'm thrilled to have you here. Tell the folks a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, first of all, honored to be here. I consider you a great friend and a mentor, and I've learned so much from you and our friendship over the years. So thanks for having me. Yeah, old lawyer by trade, retired for 20 years, and have really spent the last 20 years in different aspects tied into the vacation rental space of all places. It was a spot that allowed me to be introduced to you. I think we bonded immediately, kind of in a sea
We
of busy
did.
people. I remember distinctly I was with my dad when we met you, and we both walked away from the conversation, and we had talked about in that first conversation about surrounding yourself with nice people, right? And like life was too short to entertain
Yeah,
people who weren't
exactly.
great. And it
Yeah.
resonated so loudly. We came home, and my dad has always been a super fan of you, so I told him I was going to be on this podcast. He's like, "Can I watch
Oh,
live?" So humbling to be here. We share a lot of the same philosophies in life. I've watched all the episodes to date, and a lot of it really has rung true. So excited to talk about it. I've had the experience of being surrounded by people who have taught me an awful lot about giving back that I think more than anything were just lessons for me and shaped the way I think about, this next phase of life. And excited to chat a little bit about with you.
yeah. Well, wonderful, wonderful. Well, what are some of the things that have kind of shaped your life? What were some of the things that have kind of led you to the things that you do that we're going to talk about in just a
Yeah.
minute?
So, I think there was kind of a profound sense of at the very, early stage of my life of just that life was kind of fleeting and it was short and you better make the most of it. And I think that's driven me like a lot of people and you and, to try to make sure we're getting up every day and just making the most of the people around us and the short time we have here. Um,
Right.
it really resonated with me in one of your first podcasts when you talk about the three careers that we have in life. I haven't ever heard it explained like that. But it was, this you go get educated and then you make a living, and then you have this third whole phase of giving back. And as you may have noticed, I've got a little grayer over these 15 years since we've been
Yeah.
friends, and I clearly feel that third phase of life coming into view. And there's a real sense of searching for purpose that we've talked about in that last phase. And so to feel that sense of, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to find ways to, find better with other folks and to give back and to share and to learn from that in return. And so, I think, like a lot of people, I was very, very fortunate in that second phase of life. I found a career that, provided more than what I needed in life, and have been lucky to surround myself with people who are good in business. And so with that, I think came just a sense of a need to do something with it. I need to give back, right? And I certainly haven't done anything out of the ordinary in terms of giving back, but I have been lucky enough to run into some people who had some really profound effects about how I think about giving back, and more than anything, have just created this sense of purpose and need for this phase that's coming up, right? And so I feel like we're still learning and we're just really getting started in terms of that phase, but couple of things that stood out to me that I would love to share that really had an impact.
Please.
First is just a person. I ran into one of our good friends, Ashley Horsley, who had a really amazing impact on me. One of the first ventures I jumped into was a charity that I started with my wife called Condos for Kids. And she's a pediatrician on the medical side, and I was in the real estate side. And so very selfishly, we were looking for a way to enrich our own lives by doing good for others, which turns out tons of science around
Yeah.
helping makes you really happy.
Right.
And I wanted something that we could bond over. I wanted a way to combine her medical background with my real estate background. So we did Condos for Kids, which brought terminally ill kids down and put them in condos. It was a way to bring us together. It was easy. It was, logistics handling for planning vacations. And it really opened my eyes to just the immense benefit that you could receive by doing something so simple for others. And that ran its course. The economy turned. It got hard to raise money for a little bit.
So just real quick.
Yeah.
And you were doing this while you were working, right? I
Yeah.
mean, this is something that Condos for Kids was something that you and your wife had put together, and while you guys were actively working.
Yes. It was a way to,
Yeah.
bring our passions together.
Wonderful.
Exactly. And so we got back to business, right? I got into the vacation rental space. We were running a vacation rental company down here on the beach, which is where I met you. And Ashley joined with us, and she had this deep, deep passion for giving back in a way that really surpasses almost anybody I've met.
Yeah.
And we started to talk about that, that shared goal in life and the purpose that it gave. And we really wanted, much like my wife and I had done on the Condos for Kids side, we wanted to do that with our company. We wanted to find a way to, how do we bring some of this passion into our company? And so in a way that only Ashley has a unique ability to do, rather than kind of telling me how she thought about giving back, she started to introduce me to these books and these ideas and let me kind of learn along the way, which I think is so much powerful of a way to teach, right? And so couple of concepts that she landed on that really have stuck with me and shaped. The first is this idea of effective altruism. It's an idea that this Australian bioethicist Peter Singer wrote a couple of books about. Two really profound books in terms of the way they impacted me. One is called The Life You Can Save, and the other is called The Most Good You Can Do. And the concepts that come out of those two books, and the concepts around effective altruism, is if you're going to have a plan or a purpose to do good, and you talked real quickly in one of your podcasts about you need to have a goal, right? You need to write down your goal. I got this
Absolutely.
quote behind me, which I'm going to pull into view real quick if I can.
Yeah.
But it's a good goal, and I think you ought to have your goals written down, right? It's a quote from John Wesley, and it says, "Do all the good you can do." I got to read it this way. Do all the good you can do by all the means you can do in all the ways you can do in all the places you can at all the times you can to all the people you can for as long as you ever can. Real simple, written down goal for doing some good, right?
Wonderful. Wow.
And the idea was that, a goal without a plan, as they say, is just a wish. And so you got to have a plan. And so this idea of effective altruism and these ideas that came out of these two books from Peter Singer was that it's actually okay to look at doing good and to consider the amount of impact you can have. And it's not improper to weigh what's the most good I can do with this charity versus this charity. You can actually take a scientific, data-driven approach to literally, if I've got $1 or if I've got $100 or if I've got an hour of my time or $100 of my time, what is statistically the most good I can do? And it's it's a social movement or philosophy, but it gave me the idea of like you can attack doing good just like we attack business in a very data driven way. I run a data company now, and
Yes,
so
yes, yes.
it opened my eyes to like if you're gonna lean in, be very purposeful in your decisions to lean in. It's okay to help the Boy Scouts. It's okay to support your college. It's okay to give to an international charity, but take the time to understand the impact that you're having and the impact on the lives that it's resonated with and compare them and study them and measure them. And it really kind of changed my whole idea of like, what does doing good look like and what can it look like? And so ever since she introduced me to those concepts, we really started focusing on making sure like, hey, if we're going to donate an hour of our time, if we're going to donate $1 from our pockets or a friend's pockets, like let's make sure we're doing the most good that we can right out of the book's title.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mentioned early on in my introduction of you that you're an attorney, but I didn't. What I didn't say is that you're also an unbelievably successful entrepreneur and business person. And folks, he has run one of the best vacation rental companies in the country. He now runs a company called Key Data, which is a data company, and every one of his companies. And he and I was working for a travel company when we acquired one of Jason's companies. I mean, he is just an amazing mind and with an incredible heart. And you don't see that very often. You don't, it's hard to find those really strong brain people, those really, analytical people who also have a big heart. And
Uh,
that's one of the things that really I think really connects Jason and me is his heart. And
well,
yeah,
that's where this theory connected those two, right? It connected this analytical data side with this idea of like helping others, which makes you feel good and gives you purpose and all those great things. And ultimately, at Ashley's, with the benefit of her start, we ended up launching her, myself, and my brother, and the whole family from 360 Blue of employees. We ended up launching this second charity that's really become a deep part of our life called the Sonder Project. And it's become, in very large part, the mechanism through which we put all these learnings to work over the last few years.
so tell us a little bit about that. And folks, just so you know, it's Sonder, Sonder project. And you
Sonder.
can learn more by going to sonderproject.com. So tell us a little bit more about that, Jason.
Yeah. So through these learnings, we landed on effective altruism. Let's study. Let's figure out with the small amount of dollars that we have in this little bubble that we live in and our friends, what's the most good that we can do out in the world. And so we started to study. We read a book called Half the Sky, which I also highly recommend as kind of a last learning point. And Half the Sky is about really from an African proverb that means women hold up half the sky. And it's just about the journey that women have been in around the country and around the world and all these different countries. And the essential idea is that like we don't take advantage of half of the assets we have on the planet the way we should, which is women, right?
Right,
And
right.
so as we started to look for where the greatest need is, it could have the greatest impact, and the ripple could be the largest. We settled on this idea that educating young women in the poorest countries has this just incredible impact, right? It turns out number one on all the lists in the world is deworming. For a penny, you can deworm somebody. There's a lot of folks that do that, but it's somewhat a money play, right? You can buy a pill for a half a cent or a cent, and you can have this incredible impact. We wanted something that we could really sink our teeth into, get our hands around, and involve our company in. It was a little bit more hands-on. And so, second on the list from our viewpoint was educating young women around the world. And you can have these massive generational impacts if you educate one young woman. And so we landed on sub-Saharan Africa. And we joined with some other organizations, and we started building schools in the middle of nowhere in Africa, in Burkina Faso, in Central West Africa, and in Malawi. And we started digging wells to support those
And
schools.
and this is not you going out and hiring people. This is you and your team and your company getting on airplanes, flying to Africa, and picking up shovels, right?
Yeah, we took some
Unbelievable.
trips over there, and listen, certainly we've got people on the ground over there that keep the operations running, and we've got this incredible
Sure.
team. But it's really it's not so much doing the work on the ground; it's empowering the people that are on the ground to do the work. They need, a lot of this learning around altruism and stuff has to do with like a lot of these people. They're not looking for handouts. In fact, that's typically counterintuitive. They're looking
Right.
to just get on the first rung of the ladder so that they
Right.
can climb their own way up. And so much of what we learned along the way from these people who've spent their lifetime helping in sub-Saharan Africa and with education of women and all these charities, people who don't go to work for a living, they get up every day and they just help people. And so, with their assistance, we just learned, what's the right amount of involvement and what's the best way to help without creating problems. But to your point, we had the pleasure to travel over there. We sent many people from our company over there. We went over there with that kind of typical, I guess, American or outsider view of we're going to come in and we're going to do all this good. And boy, what a profound impact those trips have on you. You come away so much more enriched than what you left them. It changes your viewpoint on life to go see folks who live just in a whole different way. And it really changes your viewpoint on not just what's important, but what do you need in life. And
Right.
very profound. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And um, h- how many schools have you built? And you've dug water wells. I mean, uh,
We finished our 50th well like 3 weeks ago, which was super exciting. I
wow.
forget the number of schools it's on the site, but several dozen. Um, but it's really turned into an organization where at its core it's a group of friends where one by one we really just introduce other people to the concept, try to share some of our learnings. I think that's really our role that we play in it.
Yeah.
And then kind-hearted people around the country learn of the story and learn of the impact. It's not a organization where things are lost. You take $1 and we go build a school with the
Right.
dollar. You can see exactly where it goes. So it's intentionally a small organization, but we really wanted something where we could learn and it could provide something back to us and our families, and we could be certain that what we were introducing people to was really having a profound impact on the other end. And so being able to be on the ground over there and have employees on the ground and see where those dollars are going and seeing the impact it's going to us has had a profound impact on our life and the life of our families. And it's really been something that's given back to us a lot more than what we've given over there in a weird way.
Yeah, and just a couple of things. You took it to an entirely different level because when you took it from you learning to enabling your entire company to learn and your entire company to participate and sending a bunch of employees, to help and what a wonderful thing. The other thing I just wanted to share is that it is amazing because like this podcast. I can only meet. I personally can only reach so many people, right? Um, but you know what? It's the teaching people so they can teach others, training people. So, this, I learned this actually in network marketing. It's the power of duplication, power of duplicating yourself and creating a model where you um, teach people how to do what you do. And what you've done and what you've built is a giving back organization that is just going to organically grow with like-minded people, which I think is just awesome. And again, folks, this is not an episode where we're trying to sell you on the Sonder Project. Okay,
Yeah.
I encourage you to look at the website and see what they do. But this like everything else. I just wanted to share this man with you. I wanted to share his spirit with you, and I wanted to share the spirit of giving. Um, and how enriching it can be just for ourselves. So you built something amazing. You started this quite a while ago, probably 10 years ago. And it's continuing on. And my imagination says that long after you and I are gone, that legacy will continue.
Yeah, thank you. Well, listen, you're doing incredible work with the podcast. I think we're on the same mission here, which is people give us these seeds of wisdom or teach us something along the way. It's as simple as passing it back down to the next group to hope that it has a ripple effect, right?
Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. And it is and it's just kind of my mission, right? I think that, and I know you do too, that we all share a common purpose, and that is to make the world better than the day we landed on it. And
Exactly right.
you're doing this in just so many amazing ways. And I just wanted to share that with the group. And so with that, Jason, thank you for joining me. I'm going to have, folks, we're going to have another episode with Jason, and we're going to talk about some other things that he does, because this is not the only thing that he does. But I want to share people on this podcast who just have enormous hearts, because I think that's the way we're going to change the world, is with heart. And
Yeah.
there are people with big hearts, there are people with little hearts, there are people with medium size, whatever it is, right? Everybody can participate. But Jason is a guy with a very, very big heart. Listen, do you have anything else you want to share at this
No,
point?
sonderproject.org if you're interested, or if I
Yep.
can ever be of help. I appreciate the opportunity, John. You're doing amazing things. I'm proud to call you a friend.
Well, likewise, Jason. And sonderproject.org. I said .com. Sorry
That's
about that.
okay.
But .com works too.
Yes, we'll
Because
get there.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so Jason Sprenkle, again, if you want to watch this, my YouTube channel is Finding Better Podcast. And if you want more information about me, you can go to johnsuzuki.com. So with that, Jason, I thank you so much for sharing this big, big part of your life. And I can't wait to have you back.
Thanks,
Okay. Yeah. All
John.
right. Awesome. Folks, thank you very much. And until next time, keep going. Have a great day.